Well, hello there, everybody. How you all doing today? It's a beautiful, gorgeous day, getting cooler and cooler as we fade into autumn here. Going for a walk through the graveyard. Haven't done this one in a while, so I thought, what the hey. Today I want to talk about how Germany has expropriated 200 and I believe 40,000 apartment units from their mega landlords and, slumlords and the parasites that exist in their society who are, like scalpers do, pre-purchasing housing and withholding it while jacking up rents and jacking up prices so no one can actually get housing and no one can actually be involved. Germany has confronted their capitalists and has said to them, hey, your market idea, this idea of a market system for housing is obviously fraudulent. It obviously fails, and we are going to do something about it. We are not going to allow you to continue exploiting the desperation and the poverty of our citizens in order to enrich yourselves, or just use our housing as a storage unit for your wealth, which is actually what is happening, right? The billionaires are not taking this housing in order to turn around and resell it or even rent it out or anything like that. They are using our housing, and this is a global phenomenon, they are using our housing as a method to store their obscene, grotesque wealth that they have nowhere else to put it. They have nothing else to buy, and they're so far away from being willing to actually participate in a civil society or to be part of anything resembling a community that they can't even put together that the solution to their problem is to give their wealth away. That if they were to actually want to help people, they could do that very easily, but they don't want to help people. And so what this is doing is it's forcing governments like Germany to confront them and say, hey, you're acting like sociopaths. Maybe not. And what's happening here in Canada? Oh, essentially the exact opposite. Here in Canada, all of our political leaders, NDP, Conservative, Liberal, Green, it didn't matter, came up with solutions to this crazed housing crisis that is absolutely destroying the hopes and dreams of even our most educated and most diligent workers. Your doctors, your lawyers, your engineers are now incapable of actually buying houses because the housing market has gone insane because billionaires exist. And what are the solutions that our political leaders are coming up with? Oh, we'll just build more housing. Because building more housing while there are billionaires is a solution, right? The billionaires certainly won't just buy those properties up as well, right? We have this odd idea that, oh, we can play by these neoliberal rules and they actually function because neoliberalism has credibility, right? Neoliberalism is a system that is credible and actually works, right? No, places like Germany have started to put together that the neoliberal grift was always a grift. It was never an economic system. That the people who were espousing neoliberalism were literally bribed by billionaires in order to lie to the public, to pitch a religious ideology as if it was an economic system, and it's become extraordinarily obvious. Throughout the United States, you have a situation where 600,000 people are homeless, while there are 5 empty homes for every homeless person. The expropriation of housing is becoming necessary. And so we begin asking ourselves, why is it that our political leadership is so incapable and unable to actually provide basic human rights to their own citizens. And the answers that you have to come up with is that, unlike a place like Germany, which looked at its capitalist class politically and said, no thank you, that the people of Germany refused to vote for neoliberals, the people of Germany refused to vote for capitalists, that the communists and the socialists are beginning to take over in Germany. Unlike Germany, though, here in Canada, we essentially have 4 neoliberal parties. 5 if you really want to include the Bloc. All of them completely co-opted, all of them completely bought out by billionaires who sincerely do not care if you die in the streets. I think that this is something that we are starting to put together as a nation. That the people who have extracted the wealth from our labor, the people who have collected this wealth into vast piles, are not actually interested in helping anyone. The idea that that wealth was going to trickle down was always a lie. And we are starting to realize that it was always a lie. And now we're entering a phase where we are beginning to see that our electoral systems are incapable of responding to this. In the case of Canada, it may be possible that a brave politician with a moral conscience, should such a creature exist, may stand up and say to the populace, hey, let's just do reasonable things to feed and clothe and shelter the populace. Hey, let's help the populace. Hey, have you noticed how there are billionaires and they have so much wealth that it's grotesque? Maybe we should do something about that. That is possible that such a thing might occur here in Canada. Such a thing will never occur in America. That's very concerning to me. The American system is designed specifically to ensure that such a thing will never happen. That we will never see a Democrat or a Republican be elected who then turns around and begins distributing wealth into the populace. Unless there is a mass movement that takes over the streets. Exactly what happened throughout the 30s and the 40s, exactly what happened throughout the 60s and the 70s, and now it needs to happen again. That the American system of governance is essentially do not govern. And the attempts by the ruling class now, because they have all the power and they have extracted all the wealth and they own all the property, the objective now by the ruling class is to dismantle any system that could possibly challenge them or even reform the system. And so now we're in a position where all that's left for us is to take to the streets in mass protest, like we have done in the past. The question becomes, are we going to do this? Right now, it seems as though the protest movements are quite tepid. They're quite unwilling to shut down infrastructure. They're quite unwilling to clog up the halls of power. They're quite unwilling to do anything meaningful. And largely, I think this is because of hesitancy regarding COVID. But the longer this issue persists, the worse it's going to be, the more entrenched it's going to be, and the more the powerful will tell us that our solutions are unreasonable, while European nations enact exactly the solutions we are talking about. When we say things like we should expropriate apartments from the wealthy will come up with a series of sociopathic reasons why that is not possible. Meanwhile, Germany is doing exactly that. we should follow suit. Okay guys, this is the end of this one. I hope you're doing well out there. Please like, please share, please subscribe. If you're hearing this and you're hearing like, share, subscribe, I think you have to. Those are the rules. My Patreon's down below if you want to participate in that. Help me pay my rent, right? We still live in a system where someone has to prove to neoliberal capitalists that they are worth living in a universe that spawned them in the first place, which is quite odd if you ask me. Just remember, you are a divine being, living in divine energy. These capitalists spend hundreds of billions of dollars to gaslight you and pretend like something else is happening. Don't let them. Good luck. We're gonna need it.